So how are we ever going to know when there is a next pope? We'll never hear the words for certain. Shy of God coming down from the sky and writing it in fire across the sky, we don't have a clear way to know when the next pope is. And to me, that's the major flaw in Sedevacantism. And it actually leads to almost unbelievable assertions that the Diamond Brothers make. I'll give you one example. They will quote one of the post-conciliar popes as saying that Christ is united to all men. The Diamond Brothers, now watch carefully during this debate. Watch what they do. They will take a quote like that, and I believe it's from John Paul II, but it doesn't matter. It's from one of the 5 popes. They will take a quote like that, and they'll say, see that? Jesus, John Paul II saying that everyone's going to heaven because Jesus is united to all men. That's what they do. They draw these vast conclusions and then automatically attribute to the Pope him being a heretic, and he's not the Pope now. And they'll do this over and over again, even though it's been shown repeatedly. I have 40 pages here from different Catholics that totally disagree with their particular interpretation of these quotes, that you can interpret them different ways. And if their interpretation is correct, we will never know when another pope is elected. We would have a situation in the church today that is unprecedented throughout church history. We've never had another period in Roman Catholicism where not only do you not have a sitting pope for almost 50 years, but you don't have a definitive way to elect another pope. And to me, that is one of the major problems, and that is one of the major problems that I will put forth to them today, see if they can answer that. How much time do I have left? Hello?
You have roughly 10 and a half minutes.
10 and a half minutes, okay. One of the other things I'd like to address is some of the, based on their reasoning, you have situations where they come up with, in my opinion, I don't mean to be insulting, crazy arguments. I'll give an example. Sister Lucia. I was reading their website today. Now, I guess they sort of have to do this. And I would ask the audience to please just, I mean, it's almost hard to argue against them because the argument is so absurd that Sister Lucia, who obviously most of you probably know was one of the 3 children that Our Lady of Fatima appeared to, and after Vatican II, she totally accepted the Vatican II Church, totally accepted the Novus Ordo Mass, totally accepted the 5 post-conciliar popes. So what do the Diamond Brothers do? They assert. So this would undercut this would most likely undercut their argument, because here you have a woman who the Blessed Mother appeared to and told her she was going to go to heaven, being faithful to the post-conciliar church. So what do the Diamond Brothers do? They argue, and very few Sedevacantists actually the most recent debate that Bob St. Genis had with John Lane, he didn't even assert this. He just said that John Lane said that we don't know. That's one of those question marks. But it seems obvious to me, and this is what the Diamond Brothers assert, that Sister Lucia was somehow kidnapped and murdered, and an imposter was put into her place. And they have pictures on their website that show the different faces. And I mean, I've looked at these pictures, and I don't know how you draw the conclusion that it's not her. I mean, is it possible that could have happened? Yeah, sure, absolutely. But it's crazy. That would mean that John the 23rd is a murderer, that he set this up. There's this great conspiracy, that the nuns that she lived with were in on this conspiracy. It's almost, I mean, if you were arguing this in a court of law, would any jury buy this? Sure of DNA evidence, I don't know how you can make the assertion. I wish to also, I don't really know their position if they believe John the 23rd was actually elected Pope and then fell into heresy. That's something that we can address because I believe that there's different opinions on whether or not the Pope can actually be deposed from heresy. I believe it's clear in Paul IV's Cum est Apostolis that a heretic cannot be elected Pope. But that does not apply to a sitting Pope. I think even later on in that letter he talks about if a reigning Pope teaches something contrary to the faith or leads you astray, do not follow him. So if somebody is a Pope and he teaches something wrong, the Holy Father, Pope Paul IV, does not say he's no longer Pope. He says don't follow him. So that is a whole other thing, but I believe that the Diamond Brothers are going to say that these guys were never elected. So that's something that we can talk about also. Again, I want to reiterate that the First Vatican Council's teaching that, therefore, if anyone says that Peter does not have perpetual successors and that the Roman Pontiff is not the successor of St. Peter in the Petrine Primacy, let him be anathema. That is key. If the Diamond Brothers are correct, we do not have a way of knowing who the next Pope is. You may have, and another question could be, listen, it's been 50 years. If you're going to assert that the bishops, the Sedevacantis bishops, and the Sedevacantis Roman clergy can elect a valid Pope, why not get together and do it? Why not elect a valid Pope? We've been without one for 50 years. Think of the consequences of that. What happens if there's a teaching that needs to be defined or clarified? What happens if there's a moral dilemma in this year of 2006 or 2005 or all the way up back to 1958? We don't have a Pope. So if the Roman clergy can, which is, in my opinion, they're going to have to prove that that there is some provision that in the state of emergency the Roman clergy can elect a Pope. Not just a theologian's opinion, a papal document, a bull, because remember, not only is the Pope the supreme pontiff in matters of faith and morals, but also on church discipline. And the last Pope, Pius XII, not only set up, but changed the rules slightly in the papal conclave, but reiterated that's the way we elect a Pope. So who is going to overturn that? Who is going to change those rules? That's a serious problem for the Diamond Brothers and the Sedevacantis position. They do not have means to elect another Pope, and therefore we can't have popes in perpetuity, shy of God coming down from the sky and announcing it to the world. And is that something that we would find reasonable? I think not. I think that's all I have. Do I have extra time over? I don't think I have too much more to say.
Okay, you have 3 more minutes. You don't want to use it, though?
No, that's fine. I think I covered all my points.